how workflow automation, how ECM, along with the accounts payable solution, will be able to achieve the compliances as well as the transparency when we are talking about enterprises. So I welcome you all today to the webinar that is being done by both NewGen as well as Netmarks Indonesia, who is one of our worthy partners that is there in Jakarta. So we'll be starting with the presentation over here. So talking about NewGen at a glance, NewGen has been in the market from last 31 years. So NewGen is an India-based company, and we do have offices based out of Singapore. Uh, if we talk about Dubai is also there, then we talk about the US, London. So we have offices all across the world, all across the continents, but the legacy comes from India, from Delhi, and we have been rated pretty highly by the gardeners and the foresters of the world, as you can see that. So it has been few years now that we have been rated as a strong performer, niche player, and recently as a leader. So we have been proven in 74 countries with more than 580 customers. So you can see the legacy. It's been 31 years that we are there in the market doing the automation, the workflow automation, the document management. And if you talk about the scalability, then we have the world's largest case study when we are talking about enterprise content management or the document management. So one of the life insurance corporation of India, we have the world record wherein at a single point of time, more than 25,000 users, 18 billion document and 2,000 locations all across India, they are using the software. If you talk about the ROI or the value that we bring to the customers, so as far as Forrester is concerned and the customers are concerned, our customers are saying that we are getting more than 370% ROI. So whatever they invest, they get 371% return on the investment that they provide. And this comes in from the spending that we provide, that we invest in our resources, in the research. So 10% of our revenue is actually going into the research and development so that we are growing rapidly and we are improving on our products. So going on to the NewGen recognitions. So I'm so happy to tell you that we have been rated as a leader in the Contents Platform Wave report for Forrester this year for Q1 as well as Q2. We have been rated as a strong performer in the digital process automation for Q4 of 2021 and 2022. So you can see that we've always been in the top 5 from last many years, several years. We talk about the Gartner report being a niche player, or we talk about the Forrester Wave report for both contents platform as well as the process automation. Recently, the tag that we got from G2 was a leader in both ECM and BPM. And as we all know, G2 is one of the big organizations to rate the enterprise content platform or the digital process automation platforms. And you can see other research organizations as well, be it DNB or Aragon Research. We have been rated as a leader somewhere or the other for our products. These are the enterprise customers. Just like you have joined, we do have enterprise customers, be it India, APAC, Africa, US, Europe. So you can see over here, we have a few big names like Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, then we have Mercedes-Benz. So we have a few big clients that this is just an excerpt. This is just a small list of the clients that we have in the enterprise who have gained from us, who have automated multiple processes where they were silos, they were having some issues, doing things manually, and they got automated through NewGen. So if we talk about what do we offer with NewGen? So there are 3 products that includes enterprise content management, business process management, and customer communication management. So starting with enterprise content management, so that includes all the processes that are related to the documents. So right from conversion from the physical documents to digital, doing the indexing, creating linear workflows on top of it, storing in a central repository, That includes searching and other capabilities as well, and the integration along with core banking softwares, along with enterprise resource planning, ERP softwares, core insurance softwares. Okay. Also managing the records, the physical records. So there are mandates with the countries wherein for 7 years or 10 years, you need to keep the physical records. So the linking of physical records as well as the digital records, as well as performing operations on top of the documents. So all these things combine to form enterprise content management. And we have been rated rank 1 in terms of enterprise content management in the world. Then we talk about business process management, which is a low code automation platform wherein through drag and drop, you can actually design the processes, be it for banking, be it for insurance, enterprise, government. So you can design a lot of processes over that. You don't require hard coding to do that. And it would be having multiple rules which you can set up. You can design the forms, you can design the process. So be it retail lending or insurance processes or enterprise processes like accounts payable that we'll be discussing, accounts receivable, then the processes on the documents. So there can be multiple operations as well as the dashboards that you can have, the drill down reports, the dynamic dashboards. All these things are built on top of BPM. Then we talk about the customer communication management. So there are various organizations that are talking to their customers regularly. Okay. So how do they communicate with the customers in a better and an effective way? And keeping them happy, doing the upselling, cross-selling, whatever they talk to the customer actually results in better customer experience. Next, we talk about the down below the mobility RPA. So RPA can also be integrated with our BPM, ECM, so that we know the processes that are repetitive can be done by the RPA. And we talk about the mobility. So we do have mobile apps for ECM, BPM. Okay, so that someone who's not able to log in through a desktop can do it through the mobile app. Along with that, the solution that we are providing are also present on cloud, because you don't need the data center or so much amount of physical storage to store your data. So it's better you have on cloud as well. So these are some of the possibilities while we are talking about the digital transformation for enterprises. So these can be some common problems or common processes or use cases that for which Newgen's BPM, ECM can be used to automate the processes. Starting from procure to pay, you can see multiple processes like purchase request, PR to PO. Then we have accounts payable. How do you manage the vendors? Then the master data management, some other common processes like the contract lifecycle management, the service request management, help desk services, then from hire to retire of the employees, right from hiring like the employee onboarding, then the payroll management, and then we talk about some reimbursements that the claims that the employee does, along with that when the employee leaves the organization. So these are a few of the processes that we can automate through our BPM. So now we'll be discussing on the accounts payable solution, wherein how do you manage your vendors? There are multiple invoices coming from multiple locations. So how do you make the vendor happy and do all the payments on time? So I will ask Jigyasu to take over from here to explain how the accounts payable process actually works. Over to you, Jigyasu.
Thanks a lot, Jatin. Thanks for the introduction about Newgen and our enterprise application solutions that we are having. So now we'll be discussing about accounts payable solution. So before I get into the details of the accounts payable, there is a video that I can show you, which will brief the offering that we have. Then we can get into more details. So Jatin, if you can move to the next slide. Thanks.
Jack and Jill had a deal. Jack owns a multi-million-dollar FMCG company. His company markets a large portfolio of food, beverages, and health-related products. Jill is a supplier of aluminum cans, glass bottles, PET plastic bottles, and she is Jack's vendor. Over the months, Jill has grown increasingly dissatisfied with Jack's company. It has reached the point that she has decided to call it quits with Jack's company. She is unhappy because either her payments from Jack's company are delayed or not on time. Jill's cash flow management is being badly affected, and all of it is affecting her business adversely. What went wrong? Why are the payments to Jill delayed? Why are Jack's vendors leaving him or charging him with delayed fee? For that, let us see how Jack's AP team works. It is labor-intensive and has manual, time-consuming, and error-prone operations. There is a lack of efficient monitoring and tracking mechanism. There is no visibility of liability flow and also increase in risks of non-compliances. This leads to the creation of an opaque workflow, making it difficult for Jack's manager to ascertain lags and bottlenecks. They are unable to respond back to vendor queries due to chaotic work management. The finance team lacks visibility on aging liabilities, resulting in ad hoc cash flow requests. All this is causing delay in several payments to their vendors. Jill's payments are also not taking place on time. The accounting and the finance department of Jack's company have misplaced numerous invoices. Sometimes they are unable to trace Jill's invoices too. Jill has charged them with corresponding late fee. This is a business loss for Jack's company. The departments of Jack's company work in silos and lack visibility. Several of Jill's discrepancy queries have been displaced, with no track on response for corrective action. In a nutshell, Jack's AP team is facing these challenges. There is error-prone manual processing. There is a lack of communication between departments. There is not much visibility into the workflow and invoice data. There is no compliance to the standard operating procedures, resulting in unknown risks. NewGen's AP solution to the rescue. The solution eliminates manual intervention and automates the management of Jack's payables. NewGen's Account Payable solution electronically transforms Jack's invoice management and vendor communication. The results are all there to see. Jack's AP processes are now centralized. Invoices received at disparate locations or at central back offices of Jack's firm are captured and transferred to a common mailroom, where relevant data is automatically extracted, indexed, and validated. This centralizes Jack's AP process and ensures accuracy of data. The product integrates with Jack's existing ERP systems, auto-checking on PO, invoice, and other transactional validations by connecting to different systems, further optimizes invoice processing for Jack's accounting department. All actions on the transactions of Jack's accounts payables are supported with the right artifact during audit, thanks to this solution's content management suite, which automatically stores invoices, their supporting documents, including reference documents like contracts and other communications like emails during exception conversation. That's how Jack has eliminated the manual processing of invoices. Interdepartmental communication. The business activity monitor of this solution provides Jack with a 360-degree view of Jack's payables transactions. It allows Jack's managers to access real-time dashboards that highlight bottlenecks and facilitate shift resolution. It approves and resolves discrepancies on the move through digital framework like email, mobile device, or laptops. At the same time, it also facilitates communication between departments. There is also a mechanism to keep tabs on the turnaround time as well. Jill gets the vendor portal. The vendor portal, an extension of the NewGen's AP solution, helps operations of Jill. The solution gives her more insights into the processing of her invoices. It allows Jill to respond to the discrepancies raised in real-time basis that removes ad hoc communication-related issues. As a result, her relations between Jack's AP team are friendly again. NewGen's Account Payable solution proves to be a one-stop solution for Jack's invoice processing requirements. Jack bids goodbye to his AP woes, and Jill rewards his efforts with early payment discounts and volume-based rebates. NewGen. Reinvent your workplace.
So I hope that that video gave you an idea about how NewGen can help an organization to achieve an efficiency in their invoice processing and making sure that you are not facing delays while making payments to your vendors. So now that you have a better idea about what our accounts payable does, let's see what are the processes involved or what is the framework of this invoice processing solution that we are having. So it starts with initiation. So whenever a purchase order or an invoice comes into your workplace, it can start with digitizing. You can digitize it by scanning the physical document, or maybe the invoice is coming from an online vendor portal or from through an email. So we can capture the invoices coming from any channels when it comes to the initiation stage. And then we can also extract the data from the invoices. That can be the invoice number, that can be the PO number, that can be various line items. So we can automatically extract these data from the invoices using our OCR that we have inbuilt in our solution. Now, when it comes to verification, the invoices needs to be verified. So at this point, there can be multiple things that can be done. In verification and validation, you will be able to match your invoice with the purchase order, with the GRN, and you will be able to do that two-way or three-way check before approving or before rejecting an invoice that has come into your organization. So that provides a way for you to verify the documents, verify the invoices and supporting documents, as well as it allows you to eliminate any wrongful payments or any delayed payments that might happen with that particular invoice. And then based on your verification and validation, you will be able to approve the invoices um, on the same invoice processing solution that we have, Accounts Payable. We can also do exception handling. So, and we can also raise exceptions. So if we need to get an explanation about an invoice line item from the vendor, we can do that directly from the accounts payable system itself. So that, as you saw in the video as well, there were no communication gaps between the accounts payable team and the vendor, because that will create a delay in the invoice processing, as well as the vendor engagement or vendor experience may go down. Then when it comes to parking and posting, so you also saw in the video that we effortlessly integrate with your existing ERPs, like for example, SAP. So we can connect with your existing ERPs to park and post the invoices from our solution directly. So the integration will be like you will be clicking a button in our accounts payable solution, and the invoice will be posted in the ERP for the payment processes. So that is the ease of using our solution, where you don't have to switch between multiple applications like SAP or Accounts Payable, Newgen's Account Payable, and you will be able to still complete the process of paying of invoice processing from the single application itself. And once that is done, once the approvals and posting is done, you will be very easily able to archive the invoices and all the supporting documents into our centralized repository, that is our enterprise content management or document management system, where it will be visible for any audit reports that you might want later on. So you will be able to access the documents later for audit purposes. You will be having the data about who approved the invoices, who rejected it, who raised an exception, who clarified an exception, who cleared the exception, and who posted the invoice into SAP or any other ERP. So you'll be having all of those audit logs when it comes to uh, uh, the auditing part. So as we mentioned earlier, so integration is possible with almost all leading ERPs. So we have connectors in place, we have integration capabilities through APIs as well. And our solution, as Jatin also mentioned earlier, our solution is built on top of a low-code environment. It means whenever in the Go, you want to make any changes into the system, into the process, you will be able to do that on your own through your development team. And you will be able to increase the efficiency of your existing process uh, based on your business requirements. So that is the power of a low code automation platform, which allows you to make changes and go ahead with the live environment very quickly. Jatin, if you can move to the next screen. Sure. So now these are some solution highlights that I'll be discussing. These are some screenshots. So as I mentioned, it starts with initiation. So here it is, you can see a document or an invoice is scanned here, and the data is automatically captured into the screen, into our accounts payable solution, which starts with Omni Scan. And uh, please move ahead, Jatin. Yeah. And as I mentioned, the invoice may be coming from email as well, as you can see here, and or a vendor portal that you might be having. So vendors will have access to this vendor portal, and they will be able to upload their invoices into the system, and it will be automatically captured into our system. Now, this is the data extraction, as you can see here. So line items and key fields from the invoice can be captured automatically and filled into the form that we have created here. So you can see it's a very simplified form where you just need to fill like details like GST number, base values, and taxes amount. So all these details can be automatically populated in the system. And if the system is not able to read any data, it will also show a prompt or a red box so that you can put that data manually. When it comes to duplicacy check, you want to make sure that you will check the invoice on your historical data as well, so that you are not making a repeated payment on the same based on the same purchase order. So you can see the last transactions with that particular vendor, and you can see the amount and the PO number and verify whether this invoice is the same as earlier or not. We have, when it comes to the system, we have a set SOP, and we have an exception handling as well. So whenever a process that is being the invoice that is being processed, if there are some hiccups into that, a user can raise an exception into the system, and then it will move to another team member who will be able to clear that exception. It can be like a mismatch between purchase order and invoice, or it could be irrelevant information in the invoice. So all these kinds of exceptions can be easily handled into our system using automated or user-assisted methods. So as I was also mentioning about the posting. So here you can see on the left-hand side of the screenshot, this is the SAP screen which is visible in our system directly. So we can click here post, and this invoice will be posted into SAP against that particular purchase order, because all the matching has been done in the back end, and we will be able to process that particular payment for that vendor very quickly, very easily through your ERP. So that is the capability of integration that we have with the ERPs. Now, when it comes to approvals and audits, we will be able to approve any invoice from emails directly as well as from the application that we have, that accounts payable application that we have. And when it comes to audit, you can see here that we have a record of who approved a particular invoice, and we have a data when it was approved, what is the approver's email ID. And if there are any comments, we will be able to see that in the summary as well. So that is that it helps you when you are auditing a particular vendor and you want to see the historical data along with the logs. Our solution also supports mobility. It means we have some capability to integrate with the mobile applications as well. So we have a framework in place which assists our solution to be mapped to a mobile application as well, which helps us in approving an invoice, initiating an invoice, as well as seeing activity dashboard. It means, if Jatin, if you can move to the next screen. Okay, so I will talk about BAM in a moment. So now when it comes to SLA and turnaround time, so we will be able to track the service level agreement that you have with that particular vendor to process their invoice. It means whenever invoice processing is being delayed, you will be able to receive an alert and notification, or it can automatically be escalated to a different user for invoice processing. For example, a person is on leave and the invoices that are coming to his desk time for that particular invoice processing is lower.
I guess we lost in between. Could you please repeat?
Yeah, so I was just taking an example. Let's say a person in the accounts payable department has been on a leave. So any invoices that are coming into his queue to process, it will be automatically transferred to another user based on certain conditions, like if he has not responded within 1 or 2 hours, it will be automatically transferred and escalation will be created at that point. So that is the being done because we want to reduce the overall turnaround time required for a particular invoice processing. Now, as I was mentioning about monitoring, so the users will be having a holistic view of how the invoices are being processed, right? So it is very important to keep a track of the service level agreements, of the total turnaround times, to make sure that your engagement or your relationship with your vendor is a seamless experience, is seamless, and it is a good experience for the vendor as well. So here in the screen, you can easily see that how many invoices were initiated, how many invoices are paid, and in this visual representation, it gives you a good idea about how your process is working. Even business users or executive level people will be able to see this view as well. So you can see there are multiple types of reports for multiple types of users. So accounts payable users may be able to see different reports. The business users will be able to see different reports. The executive people will be able to see different reports. So it is highly customizable based on users, like what kind of report, as well as it is also automated. I mean, it can be an automatic reporting as well. Like if you want a daily report, that can also be customized, or a weekly or a monthly report.
So just adding on to what Jigyasu said. So these reports, I guess if you are already using SAP or other ERP solutions, you would be thinking that these are similar reports to what they provide. So these are not similar reports. Those reports might be very unilateral, maybe in form of Excel or tables. But here we are talking about drill down reports. So taking into consideration example, there are 1,000 locations that your invoices are coming from and being processed. So and there will be multiple departments and numerous amount of users that would be having there. So if a CXO level person wants to understand that in a particular location, let's say in Indonesia, in Jakarta, in north of Jakarta, there is a particular branch in which there is a particular department in which I mean, how many invoices have not been answered or are breaching the SLA. So this is the kind of drill down reporting that we are talking about here, and not the simple Excels. So drill down reports and the customized reports that the CXO level people can check, so that they know that what exactly are the bottlenecks that they are getting in a particular department, in a particular region, in a particular uh, country as well. So that gives a lot of information on that. Please continue, Jigyasa.
Thanks, Jatin. So I have received one question which asks, do we have a OCR inbuilt, and how is the pricing model of our system? So yes, we have inbuilt our own in-house OCR, which is, which is a part of the offering that we are going to give you. And it also has a capability to integrate with third-party OCRs, which you may prefer, or maybe you are already using an OCR. So we can integrate with that as well. So both options are there. And our pricing model that we have, it's not pay per use or chargeable on per transaction. It is based on number of users that are using the system. So the license part of the solution is based on number of users that you are having. So I have received another question, but I will take that in a mobile. So in this screen that we are showing you are multiple other use cases that are coming from a similar industry. So for example, if the invoices are PO invoices, we can assist you in GRN creation, OCR extraction, duplicity check, invoice approvals, exception handling, invoice posting. If these are non-PO invoices, we can assist you with expense bill processing as well. And if they are vouchers, whether they are PO or non-PO vouchers, so we can do the verification, posting, and the voucher payment processing can be done. The cash payment can be recorded and managed in our system itself. And when it comes to LC creation, domestic letter of credit creation or import LC creation or approval of an LC can also be managed on our same system. So it all depends on what kind of process you have. And because we are a platform, we are providing a platform, it means it can be uh, customized to meet your business requirement, your exact business requirement. We have extensive experience when it comes to accounts payable automation for multiple types of organization, multiple types of enterprises. So we understand that the business process can be different for every company. So that is where our accounts payable solution and our low code automation platform comes into picture, because we can meet your exact requirement based on your current business process. Jatin, if you can go ahead. So would you like to take this, Jatin? I mean, a few case studies that we
Sure.
have for the accounts payable. Yeah.
Yes. So just talking about now the case studies or the places where we have already installed the AP, AR, and other processes, including enterprise. So talking about one of the case study, that is Coca-Cola. So the issue that they were facing was that there was no standard process of how they manage their accounts payable, accounts receivable. They were not having the visibility that we talk about in business activity monitoring tool, that the reporting, the dashboards, they were not having. And also a centralized repository so that they know when or where the invoice is placed, or can they extract it at a single click. So this was the issue that they were facing, that included both accounts payable issue, accounts receivable, as well as the ECM, that is the OmniDocs, the central repository issue as well. So the solution that we provided to them was the accounts payable, accounts receivable, as well as the OmniDocs. Along with that, as they were having many vendors, so they required a vendor portal as well, so that the documents coming in from multiple vendors, they can directly go onto the vendor portal and submit the documents. So the benefits that they got was mainly the amount of time that is involved in processing of an invoice, that significantly reduced. And why it got reduced was, now they were able to track the invoices, that where the invoice is stuck, where the bottleneck is, that earlier what they were facing, they were doing things manually. So there were a lot of error prone processes that they were having. And as they have automated everything, as they have more transparency and real time dashboards and tracking of those invoices, they now know that what exactly was letting them down. And all in all, that actually helped in the payments to the vendors which got delayed, which we actually saw in the video as well, that there were multiple invoices that got misplaced of Jill. So here the vendor satisfaction was the most important thing. So that happened. Along with that, as they have took the Omni docs, and along with that, how they retain the documents. Okay, so there are regulations where you have to retain the documents for a few years, and at a single click they can fetch the documents as well. So that can be done by OmniDocs. Along with that, they now know that who all have worked on those documents. So the processing history, the audit logs, so that can be actually seen and also be integrated with their ERPs. As we have seen before, Jigyasu has told that in the SAP, in the FlexCube, in the other ERPs, you can actually see the screens of NewGen. Okay, so that will be help that actually helps a lot. So moving on to Caterpillar, which actually was for APAC region. So that included Singapore, Japan, Australia, India, and China. So there are multiple countries for which they had to automate their accounts payable process and actually check that where exactly are their invoices going, because the vendors are not happy. And their core application was SAP R3. So there were the shared service centers, two service centers based out of India and China. So the benefits that they got was earlier they were taking around 10 days of time to automate the invoices, process the invoices, and release on the payments. And now that has reduced by 70%. So now in the same amount of time, they can actually process 3 times more invoices. So we know that the efficiency or the productivity of the employees, that has significantly improved. Now they can focus on working on more invoices so that the vendors are happy. They are paid on time, as well as because there were lot of equipment, lot of vendors with Caterpillar, and there was some mismatching of the POs, the invoices. So there were a lot of exceptions that were raising. So the number, be it the number of items that were delivered, as well as whatever was mentioned on the PO that was not there, okay, or the quality of the items that was sent to them was not up to the mark. So the GRN generated was of the different number. So there were a lot of exceptions that they were there, and along with that, the searching of the documents. So because there are multiple documents from thousands of vendors, hundreds of vendors that came in. So the critical documents need not be misplaced. They have to be there in the OmniDocs, and also whenever required, at a click of a button, they can check those or fetch those documents. This actually helped in maintaining the SLA as well as the TAT. And if I talk about in a particular month, they were handling more than 4,000 invoices. So usability or the effectiveness of their employees was actually significantly growing. Next, we talk about the Miraz Holdings. This is one of the group that is based out of Dubai, which was having issues in managing huge volume of invoices. So when the volume actually increases so much, then you need to put in more workforce if you are doing manually. So that was the issue, that they have to put more workforce, as well as they have to align with the human nature of being error prone. So that actually was there while they are capturing and managing the invoices. So that needed to be solved. So they were doing it manually. Now they used OmniScan as well as the accounts payable process to scan the invoices coming from various locations, so be it through mails, through a vendor portal, through branch walk-in. So now things were more automating rather than physically transferring, the holding cost, the transportation cost that was involved in transferring of the documents from the multiple locations to a centralized location. So that was a big issue. So that's how they wanted to centralize the operations rather than invoices traveling all around, and there was a issue of misplacing the invoices as well. So the solution that we gave them was accounts payable for both PO as well as the non-PO invoices, and the integration along with their Oracle ERP. So we also used the RPA here, the integration of the RPA. So some of the repetitive tasks can be done by the RPA, and the other AP can be used, the BPM can be used for managing the invoices. So here, as the documents were coming in from multiple places, there might be misplacement of them. The employees need to work in more hours because things were manual. So now the productivity, the effectiveness of the employees had to be increased, because now less number of employees, or the same number of employees, can do 3 times, 4 times more work while they are working on the number of invoices per hour, and also handling the exceptions. So there are a lot of exceptions, maybe a truck coming in with 200 chairs or and 100 tables, but we know that out of that only 50% is of use and 50% has to be go back. So the PO, the invoices or the GRN that would be raised inside APO only, and that would be of a different number. So there will be a mismatching of the number in terms of documents. Then how do you archive those documents? Along with that, the fetching. And also we did a migration from FileNet to the OmniDocs while we are talking about archival of the documents. So you can see the power of OmniDocs, the power of OmniScan, as well as the BPM. So that made the accounts payable process. So these are some of the case studies wherein we have worked with big organizations working on their accounts payable process, and how the invoices can be managed better, how the benefit of the organization needs to be kept in mind, and making them more automated, so that they focus on catering to the large number of customers, large number of vendors, and processing more employees in the same, more invoices in the same amount of time. So that's it from